Welcome to Nasdaq Trade Talks. I'm Jill Malandrino, global markets reporter at Nasdaq. Joining us for this segment, we have Mark Wyatt, head of global trading at Rowe Price, is also a board member of Wall Street Ride Spar. Mark, it's great to see you again. Welcome back to Trade Talks.
Jill, thanks so much for having me.
How is Rowe Price getting involved in this year's ride, and what inspired you and the firm to become a sponsor of Wall Street Ride Spar?
Let me start with the latter. It's important to me because we have a son who's on the spectrum, and as any parent will tell you, you're only as happy as your unhappiest child. So we've been fortunate in my family to get the schools and the network to get our son the assistance he needed to help us on our journey. And we want to make sure through Wall Street Ride Spar and the Autism Science Foundation, we can help other children and families. So Rowe Price likes to get involved with things that are impactful in their community and support causes. Today, 1 in 54 children will be diagnosed with autism. So it's pervasive in the communities where we operate. I recently joined the board and was asking Rowe Price to get involved as a sponsor, and I'm delighted that they agreed to become a diamond sponsor. I'm even more delighted that we're going to be hosting a virtual ride at our Owings Mills campus on October 2nd, this Saturday, from 10 to noon. So we will coincide with the event up in New York and be raising funds for the Autism Science Foundation.
Right, that's great. And of course, for everyone watching, you can find the link in the tweet here. Mark, the past few months have seen the introduction of new sponsors from across the capital markets, including FTX US, Grayscale, Canada's Neo Exchange, and of course, Rowe Price. To what would you attribute the ride's steadily increasing popularity and reach across Wall Street?
Well, one, as I mentioned, I think autism is something that is impacting a lot of not only the families, but the communities where these firms operate. Two, a lot of these, the industry is very competitive, but there's a lot of relationships and friendships that have evolved over the past decades. And people want to help people and help their friends. And when they see that they're impacted by something, they want to get involved. And three, Joe, it's a competitive industry, and sometimes we can use that competitive juices to help raise money. So when you see corners of the market like the buy side, the sell side, exchanges, and crypto getting involved, the competitive nature starts to lean in and saying, I want to get involved as well. And when you have a scoreboard in Wall Street, people tend to want to make sure that they're at the upper end of that scoreboard.
Can you tell us a little about the mission of the Autism Science Foundation and how the foundation has fared during the pandemic?
Sure. Look, specifically to the autism community, they do very well when routine and structure can be introduced into their world. So the pandemic's been anything but that. So the Autism Science Foundation was impacted, but it also has been helpful as people are looking for information. The Autism Science Foundation has been able to disseminate information to help people cope with these evolving circumstances and where they're operating. So they continue to do cutting edge research. For example, autism is more prevalent in boys than girls. The Autism Science Foundation is funding research to say, is there a preventative gene in the females that could help us understand how we could prevent that in the boys as well. So it's getting information out to the communities and to those that are caring and taking care of people on the spectrum.
And Mark, it's no secret that the pandemic has disproportionately affected those with autism and their families. Speaking from personal experience, can you share why supporting organizations like the Autism Science Foundation is even more critical than ever?
Sure. I happen to sit on a board that helps people with learning differences, and I can attest that the research that that the Autism Science Foundation is providing is used every day and is a small community that shares information. And when they see best practices, it spreads like wildfire. So again, with the pandemic and some of the challenges that represents, not only for the families, but for the caregivers, for the schools, for other institutions that are looking after people on the spectrum, it's best to get that information out quickly, and we can keep the information current and make sure that people are using the best practices that are available at the time.
Let's go back to your point with Wall Street coming together. Why is it important that the Wall Street community comes together to promote worthy causes like the Autism Science Foundation?
Wall Street doesn't always get the best reputation, and sometimes it comes across as a me first industry. I got to tell you, in my close to 30 years in the industry, that's nothing further can be from the truth. When it's an important cause, this group will come together, rally together, and make sure that they are giving back to the communities where they operate. Sometimes with fanfare, but I'm going to tell you, more often than not, it's below the radar. So it's important for us to make sure as an industry we're giving back to the community. I'm proud that Rowe Price does it. As you mentioned, other parts of the industry are doing it as well. And I think as people see that the community is benefiting from the generosity and charity work of Wall Street, we as an industry will continue to benefit. And hopefully that flywheel effect will continue for years to come.
I certainly hope so too, Mark. Great to see you. Thanks for joining us on Trade Talks. I'm Jill Malandrino, global markets reporter at Nasdaq.
Thanks, Jill.